The light is the gift of this morning. It's not that you have to be in charge of the light. The light is there in its fullness and it's flowing out through you. And then I like to ask you to gather with me to also see our organization, our Unity Center of Montreal, blessed by this light, filled with this light, in all it is doing, in all its activities, in all its future, in all its presence. Link with me, join with me. Let us be powerful in seeing the light. Absolutely radiating out of every corner of the building and all the activities and all that we do and say and plan. And so it is. And we take a deep breath to breathe in the gift individually for yourself. Fill your cup. Fill your cup. Take it into this day. Take it into this week. Whatever you have need of. There is such an abundance and an overflow of what is there. Living waters. So it is. Come back with me into your space, me in my space. Sometimes I have to organize my brain for a moment after I come out of meditation. So for example, can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, but that's not, Wilma, that's not on my end. You need to look. You can you can unmute yourself. Okay. Can you hear me, Wilma? Okay. All right, enough of this technology. I want to talk about something that has been from so many corners of what's been happening this week. This is an inspiration partially because we have completed the submission after 1 year of work, the application to Unity Worldwide Ministries in this idea and desire for a full-time permanent employed minister. So it's gone. It's been received, not just gone, it's been received. We got the acknowledgement that we have taken the last hurdle in the application process. At the same time, as you know, I'm here with you, and at the same time, I'm looking at ways that we are in the moment. And have linked with a ministry in Kitchener, near Toronto, where a long time ago I had a connection because one of my early teachers, Margaret Corn, was minister there, and then John and Joe Harris were ministers there, and I think I even participated in some ordination of theirs. I mean, they have a building and all that, and they are experimenting with a new form of running the church. And their experience has been that they couldn't get a minister. For 2 years, they were looking for a minister, couldn't find a minister, or it didn't come about. So they slowly, the energy of spirit was moving in the direction of what other ways can it look like to run a church. And in the face of, as you know, people talk to me about that, so many churches are closing, so many churches are not, the old format isn't working. And there is more of a, on one hand, it's this, doing a hybrid church, like partially on Zoom and partially in a location. And on the other hand, there is this, I think there is something moving from within, from spirit and energy of a more cooperative, more collaborative way of doing churches. Instead of the old, the old format with the minister and then a congregation, to a more, when I say cooperative, it means bringing in different people who have ownership, not financially, materially, but who are participating in what could a center, what could a unity center, what could it look like? Anyway, so that is also going on. That was also going on this week, this conversation. But what I want to talk to you about today is this concept of feeling that you have been called. That maybe there have been times in your life where you felt called to, even to the ministry, called to want to be a spiritual teacher. I'm not going to ask you to put up your hand if that applies to you at all, but I know I'm in the group of very long-standing Unity students who have been on the spiritual path, who have been in taken on activities, either being on the board or teaching a class or being a chaplain. So today I want to talk about what does it take, what does it look like, this call. And what would the invitation be from us, from the organization, or from me, to come into a conversation with you? I hope you're still with me. Are you still with me? I mean, this is, Anyway, I'm gonna bring some of the gleanings from my morning to you this morning. This is from the Talmud. Every blade of grass has its angel that bends over it and whispers, grow, grow. And when I say, have you felt the nudge? Have you even quietly dreamed of what it would be like to be a spiritual teacher, or to be a minister, a lay minister, a ordained minister, whatever? Your soul is that angel that nudges, grow, grow. And of course, one of the things I'm dealing with, and I'm fully sympathetic with, is, at some point in our lives, chronologically, we don't have the same energy we had 40 years ago, 20 years ago. But I can promise you one thing. When that angel nudges and you are not denying the nudge, and you're not complacently saying, well, I'm too old, or the entry into the willingness, it's really all it is, it's a willingness, you're tapping into a life force. You will have the energy that you need to do what Spirit wants you to do. And the more you experience that, the less you are hesitant to show up. That showing up is so dear to me. I have people in my life who have this expression, oh, there goes Maya, me with my ideas, But I have a deal with spirit. I show up. And then I will see. One of the things that I have was an idea, and I'm seeing Jim Rosemerky is sitting there in his living room, is the idea of inviting dear old colleagues to join us in a monthly talk via Zoom. It was an idea. I just said yes. I put out the word, and all three of them said, yes. It could have been that nobody had time or nobody responded to that. But anyway, back to what I want to say to you about, there is a nice little exercise that I would like you to do for a moment. Just notice your shoes, your feet. Do the exercise, please. Feel your shoes. Can you feel the clothes on your body? For a moment, you can notice your thinking. What thoughts are tugging away at you and you take you away from being in the presence? Notice those thoughts that are coming in and going out. Then come to your emotions. What have you already experienced emotionally this morning, and what is with you, what you carry with you? And now ask yourself, who has noticed the body? Who has noticed the feet? Who has noticed the emotions? You can cut my hand off, but you haven't taken any of me away, right? Right? The who is what Jesus is talking to when he says, you are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. He didn't say, you might be. You are. You are. So I want to, I've got plenty of time. I want to talk about something that came up in relation to that in our study group, in the conversation about illness and loss and difficulties in life. What am I to do with the life experiences? Am I reacting to it in the position of why me, and which at times we in Unity are prone to, which is, what have I done wrong with my consciousness? And we talked about that in this study group that we have on the Unity, A Quest for Truth. And my belief in this is very strongly that whatever is going on is a teacher. We are not so much responsible for our illnesses, says a Buddhist teacher, Stephen Levine. Let me say that again. We are not so much responsible for our illness as we are to our illness. The question is not so much what to do about the illness or the suffering, but what to do with it. What to do with it. So our responsibility, our stepping up, our willingness to step up, to be that there is a nudge, and often the nudge and the longing or the yearning comes in times when we are being challenged, when there is something that's not working, where there is a crack in the wall that lets the light in, is that the attitude, the meaning you give to what's going on in your life right now. It's not why do I have this right now? Why? But what kind of an attitude am I practicing? And I'm growing strong in the way I take what's going on with my life and I say, with a smile on my face, this is my teacher. What am I doing to be a cause of resolution? I have this big thing about I'm in the restoration business. I say at this point in my life, I'm in the restoration business. Anything I look at, I'm saying, whatever resources I have, I want to put at the feet or in service of restoration, be it relationships, being Unity Center, being my house. The relationships, that's where restoration is a big one. And yes, I'm not fixing the problems. I am willing to be of service. So I want to move back to have you been called? Have you felt the call? Have you felt the nudge? I believe in this cooperative concept that we're not going to have this necessarily single individual but more of a cooperative kind of collective kind of a thinking of a ministry. You are going to have to show up. You're going to have to take ownership. Each one of you is going to be a part on this evolving thing. And I don't have it mapped out. It's not mine to do. I'm going to let Spirit guide us in this. But I would like to leave you today with the thought, A, that you are the light of the world. Number 2, you got to let that light shine. Believe me, one way or the other, your soul will push for that light to come through. And the more I'm saying I'm willing and I'm showing up. For example, you've been wanting to be a minister. And here goes the opportunity to be part of a lay ministry program maybe at Unity Center. Or I've been wanting to be a spiritual teacher. And I would say, fine. Let's enter a mentor relationship together. You start teaching, I mentor you. There's all these ways that this can show up. You're starting to take ownership of the consciousness that is the foundation of Unity Center of Montreal. Ownership. It's a very unusual word maybe for you right now, but ownership in not just, I have been in Unity of Montreal for 25 years and I am a historical figure in this or whatever. No, ownership has to do with your saying to Spirit, I'm willing. And each one of us has the minister archetype in you. The teacher is in you. Can I see some nods? Can I see some nods? Some possible nods? I'm starting to see some laughing and some grins on your faces, because I know that something resonates with you. And maybe you have felt it and you have yearned it, and then you have a life that doesn't allow you to, or you think, you have obligations, you can't do that right now. And I'm not talking about you packing up and going to Unity Village. That's another past, that's of the past. I'm talking about you showing up now. Coming into conversation with me about what that would look like for you. Because the future, from where we're going from here, is this kind of spiritual ownership, this kind of collective. This is the future. I have a nice quote here that I find, in my morning gleanings. Our capacity to serve is diminished until we begin investing time in cultivating the life force within our being. Somebody said to me the other day about, oh, you are so enthusiastic about the church, the future of the church, or something like that. And I thought, well, is it the espresso that I had this morning that's talking here? But what? I thought, no. When I do this, when I show up, when I say I'm willing, that's when I tap into a life force that has that quality. You know the word enthos, enthusiasm, right? Right? In God. I mean, the life force is the eternal part in us. It's the part that you are the light of the world. So who got the e-bulletin last night? Did you get it? I'm starting the conversation also in the e-bulletin. It's not my main topic yesterday in the e-bulletin. I was writing about today, but then I'm starting this conversation about ownership and mission-centered ministry. Those are concepts that are not mine. They come from this whole collective, cooperative way of doing things. And even if it's just for the next 6 months, till you have, let's say, you are drawing to you a permanent minister. But in the meantime, I really believe that we are in extraordinary times with extraordinary possibilities. And I pray to God that some of what we're practicing now will stay with us, and we are not just going back to normal. Who makes a promise today we are not going back to normal as it was in the past? Oh, I'm not seeing very many hands up. I hope we are not just going back to how it was. Are you hearing me? Not necessarily, huh? I know, I can't hear you, Anna. You're unmuted, which it's good right now. We're going to unmute, and we're going to have our question and answer thing afterwards. Whatever you focus on expands. It's another one of our great unity teachings. Whatever you focus on expands. So you are the light of the world. There is a beginning of an invitation to rekindle maybe an old dream in you. But most of all, you are all called. That's why you're in unity. I always say that. Your name has come up. But there might be some of you who have felt a longing to teach, to minister, and you felt that was absolutely out of question. There was no way to do that, or you didn't think there would be a receptive ear for that. This is the time. Speak up. And also, have this conversation with your spirit. You know? I might have lived 60 years, whatever. I have not wanted to hear that message. It wasn't the time. It wasn't right. But I'm wanting to hear, and I'm wanting to see how Spirit nudges me. What is the form that the nudge comes in? Most likely, it comes in the form of discontent. You know, something's missing. Right? Something's not, you know, it's nice. I've got a good life. I got this, I got that. But something, that's the nudge. It's one of the nudges. Or you're going through some real big changes in your life, and you declaring, standing strong, this is a teacher. It is teaching me not why, but how I respond to this, solidifying it, solidifying the teaching in relation to this. Each one of those teachings that Unity, in a way, has, empowers you to step into your own, being a light of the world. There's very little top-down stuff in Unity. It's really an invitation. And I think most of us that I'm looking at here are, you know, you wouldn't be in Unity if you would not feel that invitation, that your uniqueness, your belief, your unique belief are welcome. Your spiritual path is your teacher, your spiritual path into which you bring the Unity teaching and apply it. So I have spoken this morning of a lot of things, and I pray that a few of these ideas knock on your door and make you think this week, what is she talking about? Where are the nudges? Have I ever wanted? Have I ever dreamed of? Wanted to? And where is that dream? Is it still alive in me? I know I'm called, but am I also called to participate and take ownership in the present birth of Unity Center of Montreal? Do you stand with me about the willingness for this new birth of Unity Center of Montreal to slowly reveal itself? We now have the path. I heard a yes. Yes. Hi, Paul. Yeah? Can I see some nods? You remember when you're muted, the only thing I get is your nod or your smile. Okay. All right. So with that, I want to say a few. You can unmute yourselves now. I've spoken, and I'm going to stop recording myself.